Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of my vlog. As you can see, that's Big Ben behind me. I'm here in Westminster. I'm going to show you the latest protests in London against Donald Trump's latest moves on the immigration ban in America. Some of us in London are really upset by what's happening in America right now, and we want to have our say because we are not happy with the way Theresa May, our Prime Minister, has been cozying up against this fascist dictator. So, let's go to the protest. An estimated 10,000 protesters took part in this big protest against Donald Trump in London. We expect there to be many more protests against Donald Trump simply because our government, the British government, is simply condoning what Donald Trump is doing in America right now. The kinds of actions taken by the Trump administration is absolutely disgraceful. Now, I understand why some people voted for Donald Trump in America. Okay, there is a serious issue of income inequality in America, and a lot of people are looking at things under the Obama administration and realizing that they are not getting any better off, they are not getting any richer, and their children are not going to have a brighter future than themselves. And so voting for Trump was seen as sending a wrecking ball into the American political system, hopefully to change things for the better. But if you are going to try to use the wrecking ball approach when it comes to politics, you have to be aware what kind of individual you are putting into the White House. And putting someone like Donald Trump, who's anti-Muslim, anti-gay, who is misogynistic, he's anti-immigrants, he hates Mexicans, and the worst part of it all is that he is unapologetically so. And when you put someone like that in the White House as the President of America, you cannot simply stand back and say, okay, it's the democratic process, the American people have spoken. But seriously, did the people who voted for Donald Trump want a ban on Muslims from these 7 countries entering America, even though they have valid visas and they have valid travel documents to enter the United States? No, this was not what a lot of people have voted for. And maybe there is a small minority of Americans who are indeed that anti-Islam, who really hate Muslims and couldn't be happier with the steps that Donald Trump has taken. But I do believe that these represent but a minority of the people in America. And that is why when politicians make bold moves like that against a certain cohort of people, and in this case singling out Muslims, us decent folks have to stand up and say, this is not acceptable. This is not what human decency is about. And we have to stand up and say, no, we do not accept this. We have to send a very clear message to the British government that we must not cozy up to Donald Trump. We must absolutely put human rights and common human decency before any business interests that we may have with the United States at this point. Furthermore, the context of this protest is also very important. Don't forget, in 2016, the UK voted for Brexit by a very, very slim minority. What kind of future do we want in the UK? What kind of world do we want to live in? Do we want to live in a world where countries build walls to keep people out? Or do we want to live in a sensible world where human rights prevail, where we do not single out any individual on any basis, be it their religion, the color of their skin, their ethnic origin, their cultural beliefs, their sexuality? You can tell a lot about a country by the way they treat their refugees. What kind of attitude does your country have towards refugees? These are people fleeing wars, fleeing persecution, and they have absolutely nothing. What is your response? Is it compassion or suspicion? In any case, what good will a wall do for the United States when it comes to illegal immigration? Most of the illegal immigrants actually fly into the US, or they choose to enter the United States through any other border point with valid travel documents. such as a tourist visa. They then simply overstay their tourist visas and become illegal immigrants. Very few of them actually try to walk across the desert, and so the wall will only stop a small minority of very desperate illegal immigrants trying to enter the United States that way. It makes no sense. I'm very grateful that I live in a liberal democracy, whereby people like myself can come out with thousands of other protesters and make our voices heard. We do not want Trump to visit the UK. We do not accept the way he is running America, and we have made our voices heard tonight. And across many cities in the UK, there were many similar protests. Thank you to the Metropolitan Police Service for policing and facilitating this peaceful protest, and to all the other emergency services who were present and lending a hand as well. Many thanks, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode of my vlog.